What's going on, everyone? So, quick question. Does this count as tampering? I mean, Zach Lavine, end of a Chicago game, out here wearing an LA hat, right? Like, all the rumors, all the speculation going around, the Lakers are interested in him, right? I mean, if you were ever going to drop a hint of like, hey, LA, I'd love for you to trade for me, Lakers, what better way than to drop an LA hat during an interview? Which I think is funny. Now, a lot of people are running away with this and going, oh, there's your sign. There it is. That's it. Confirmed. He's heading to the Lakers. Again, I don't want people to hold their breath about Zach Lavine coming to the Lakers. Obviously, if the Lakers can figure it out, that would be great. I just think that there's going to be too much competition for Zach Lavine that the Lakers are going to end up falling to the wayside. There's just several teams that are rumored to be interested in Lavine that can just easily outbid us, and it wouldn't be a problem. But I mean, look, Zach Lavine on the Lakers makes a world of sense, right? The Lakers need a rim pressure guard. He provides that with his athleticism, his quickness. His three-point shooting would be very welcomed. His ability to score would be very welcomed. There are some concerns, though, of course. Obviously, the injury issues, right? Is he going to be able to stay healthy? Can he be on the basketball court long enough, especially with Anthony Davis and LeBron James? Those two guys are very likely going to miss 20 plus games this year and for the foreseeable future, as long as they are in the NBA. And Zach Lavine, he's not a model of health. Last year, though, he did play 77 games, which is good. If he can kind of be on that side of things, then that would be perfect, right? But, you go through the previous years, 67 isn't bad, but then you got 58, 60, 63, 24, 47. It's like if he's closer to that than he has been the last few years, then I think that could be a problem for the Lakers. But if he can play around, 65 to 70 games a year, then the Lakers are going to be very good with Zach Lavine, especially with him as basically your third option. The other concerns are just at times he can be kind of inconsistent and can be a bit of a shot chucker, right? And that could be concerning, right? Like when he's on and he's lighting it up, he is amongst the best, right? The guy is just absolute money when he is just firing on all cylinders. But when he's not, at times he can kind of get a little carried away and actually harm you more than help you. But as far as like shooting goes, this year he hasn't been great. This year on 7 attempts per game from three, he's averaging 33%, which just isn't great. 2-point percentage though, on 10 attempts, he's averaging 46%. That's not bad. I could get behind that. And he's shooting field goal percentage of 40%. Again, not great. But if you look at previous years, he has always been a very good shooter, right? Like last year, for example, 85% total from the field on 18 field goal attempts per game. 3-point range, 37%. The year before that, he was at 39% on 7.1 attempts. So he's around 7 threes per game. And then last year, 55.6% on 2-point percentage, which is good, right? Guy that go give you 25 to 30 on any given night. A guy that has a career average of 21. But the last handful of years, he's basically been a 25 to 27 point a game guy. The Lakers could desperately use that. A guy that can just consistently night in and night out just deliver for you. That's something that the Lakers need. There are questions about the playoffs, right? It's not like this guy has a huge history and a huge culture of winning. He's had 4 playoff games, and it was with the Chicago Bulls. In those 4 playoff games, he had 16 field goal attempts per game, shot 43% from the field. He did shoot 37.5% from three, which is good, and 46.2% from the field, averaged 19 points during that stretch. So basically, kind of what he's doing this regular season thus far. Again, how much of that is just the Bulls and their struggles, where if he came to a team like the Lakers, maybe he picks back up, gets back to the guy that we know he can be. The other issue, or the biggest issue with Zach Lavine, though, whether you want him or not, is just the salary, right? The Lakers want Alex Caruso, and you could get Alex Caruso and a DeMar DeRozan rather easily, right? like their salaries combined are like 38 million, call it 39 million, just to be on the safe side. The Lakers can get there with, a couple guys, right? You can trade D'Lo and Rui and, throw in a JHS and you're basically there, right? But if you were to trade for a Zach Lavine, you're probably not going to get Alex Caruso because Zach Lavine is on the second year of a 5-year, $250 million contract. And so he is set to be paid this year and going forward. So this year he is making 40 million, little more, but around 40 million, closer to 40 than 41. So he's making basically more than Caruso and DeRozan combined. Right? So that becomes an issue. So if you have this dream of like going and getting Caruso and Lavine, it's going to be pretty tough. Again, I don't think the Lakers are going to have enough to get Lavine when push comes to shove, unless other teams just aren't willing to pony up. But team like the Knicks, team like the Sixers, who are rumored to be in it, they just have more assets than us and can outbid us. To me, it would boil down to how much do the Bulls value guys like Rui Hachimura, maybe a JHS or a Max Christie or a Maxwell Lewis, right? How much do they value one of those guys? Do they look at like Rui as like, oh, he could be a real cornerstone for us. He's still young enough to where he has the upside and potential. Look what he's doing in limited minutes for the Lakers this year. Imagine him in a more prominent role for us. Maybe that's something that they go, okay, like we could get on board with him, get D'Angelo Russell. Those two guys could be kind of our cornerstone pieces for the foreseeable future. Add in, a Patrick Williams, maybe get let's say a Max Christie. We'll just throw him out there. Now you have like a D'Lo, Christie, Williams, Rui starting 4 or 5. Now you just need to go find that young center. Maybe you could get that in some other trade. Maybe you get that in the DeMar trade or something like that. Or you unload Vu and get a younger center in that regard. And look, Zach Lavine, he's a guy that he's talked about being a Laker, and there were reports of him wanting to be a Laker. Was it last year, I believe? There was talks about if he were to leave the Bulls, his preferred destination would be the Lakers. Granted, how much of that is true, I don't know. Time will tell. But the problem is he's under a long-term contract, right? Like if he was like in DeMar's situation, I would be like, oh yeah, the Lakers could get him for sure, right? Like because it just now the player has so much power, right? Like DeMar DeRozan, you're not in a Dame situation, right? You're not in like a Kevin Durant situation to where it's like, okay, no, we're going to send you where we want because you're under contract for the next several years. And teams are more willing to make that trade because there isn't the fear of that player just leaving at the end of the year, right? Like a DeMar DeRozan, you're not trading for DeMar if he wants to go to the Lakers because what's going to happen? In the offseason, he's just going to leave you and go for the Lakers, and now you're out all of your pieces, right? Or whatever you gave up in the trade. And where Zach Lavine, you can still like, hey, even if he tomorrow publicly says, hey, yeah, I wore that Laker hat because I want to be a Laker, like that's fine and all, but the reality is that a team could still go trade for you. What, are you not going to play? Of course you are, right? So you saw that with Damian Lillard. Miami. Even his agent was running around, or based on reports, that his agent was running around saying, like, he's only going to play for Miami. Don't trade for him. And guess what? Milwaukee said, well, we'll take a chance. We'll see if he sits. And now look, right? Not that he's playing great, but, you get the point. Where that's the problem with Lavine. But if the Lakers could get Zach Lavine, they'd be pretty good, right? Zach Lavine solves a lot of the Lakers' issues. Same thing I've talked about with DeMar DeRozan. Zach Lavine, his ability to just shoot over the top, his ability to just consistently apply rim pressure is very important, very significant. We don't really have anybody besides LeBron that can do that consistently. And then his ability to just create his own offense, create and shoot, as well as just hit the open three, play a bit off the ball. Those are all things that, again, the Lakers could desperately use. So if they're able to figure it out and they're able to come up with a way to get Zach Lavine, maybe it's a 3-team deal, right? Maybe there is a team that wants D'Lo or a team that wants Rui and they're willing to pony up more draft picks or something, right? And Chicago's like, okay, well, if you can go turn Rui into like, a first or two, and you could turn your players into whatever, and we can work out a 3-team deal, then maybe we could work something out in that regard. But the reality is I wouldn't get my hopes up. Zach Lavine is closer to a pipe dream than he is a reality. But if the Lakers do, I am glad to welcome him open arms. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you take the hat as like a little sign? Do you think that's something like him, like hint, hint, wink, wink type thing with him? Do you think, no, it's not? It's just him wearing an LA hat, right? It's just, I always find it funny when players do stuff like that. Like Kyrie had like an interview where he's wearing like a Lakers shirt. I just think stuff like that is funny. But anyway, again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions, however you feel, down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. See you all in the next one. Thank you.